Welcome into the Fan Speak Network. I am your host, Justin Bruni. Joining me, as always, is my co-host and partner, Mr. Andrew, the TD King, Rob. How we doing, sir? Happy Monday. How we feeling?
Yes, sir. Starting the new week. Always going to work. This sucks. But at least I look forward to our shows on Monday night, Get to talk a little best ball with the people. And then 2 days later, get to do a giraffe with the people. Pretty nice life we live here, Bruni.
The people, absolutely. I was going to ask you about your day job today. I was like, I don't want to. Like, he's always seems like he's got a sour face on every time I call you and you're at work. It's like, yeah, I'm at fucking work. How's the day job going, Andrew? You all right? You want to talk about it? You got a support group here.
No, I mean it's fine. But then you think about it, you're like, there's like a billion other things I'd rather be doing than being at work right now. So I was just getting that headspace. I'm like, man, I'd rather be like doing X, Y, Z, 1, 2, 3s. So many other things.
Those were 6 options right there. Sounds like anything else. Hey, man, you got to find something you're passionate about. It's going to make you some money. You know what I'm saying? You got to be happy when you're at work, brother. You know what I mean? Like, you got to be there all the time. Or you could win Best Ball Mania, the big board, whatever you're, the puppy, with something, whatever else you play. I don't know. Weekly winners. Yes. Probably have to win a few of those to like really settle down, like really get off the income, the steady 9 to 5. But hey, I believe in you, buddy. You're gonna get there.
I appreciate it. We will get there. But first, let's check in with the chat. As always, Mike Raub in here, just throwing out just shrapnel at everybody. Asking Bruni, where he was when JFK happened. And then I'm over here, we're just reading the comments, waiting to hop on. Then he's over here. I get shrapnel about my outdated calendar, which again is signed by Derek Stevens, owner of the Circa out in Las Vegas.
Really proud of that.
I mean,
really proud of that.
If you've never been to Circa, 1, you definitely should be. It's awesome. 2, if you ever get to meet Derek, hell of a guy, super nice dude. Again, signed when we were out there, and I got the calendar or got the schedule. He signed it for me. Put Good Luck Commanders on it. Super nice guy. Also paid for our drinks for like the remainder of the night after we met him.
At a casino, you say?
Oh yeah, and again, he didn't really pay for the drinks. It was just on the house since he is the house out there. So Sure. Pretty cool. But yeah, again, that's why I keep it up. It'll come down eventually. Don't worry, Mike Rob. I'll do better. Got Meg in the chat checking in. She said Circa is amazed but fun. You met Derek Stevens. Yeah, super nice guy. We got a picture with him, my wife and I. And it was actually cool. Like, he just sat down and was sitting at it's called the Mega Bar there. It's like this super long bar, all TVs and everything. He was just sitting there, and I went up and just introduced myself, and we had a nice chat about football for quite some time. Like, he wasn't like, hey, cool to meet you, now get out of my face. He was like interested in football and wanted to talk about it. So pretty cool. I should have talked to him about some best ball. See if he's interested in the old best ball world.
Should have a missed opportunity. Until the next time, Andrew. One line from the movie, my buddy.
When I saw, Bruni, that you were using this background as our thumbnail, immediately I'm like, oh, the chat is going to have a field day with this, because there are, 1, a ton of one-liners, 2, the premise of the movie, if you know, so I figured, I'm like, oh, the chat is going to
grow up, become a man, lose your virginity, rank tight ends. It's all part of the process.
The pie's right there for the taking.
The underdog. Do you see the?
I do. Yeah.
Because not only can you fuck a pie, you can fuck a draft.
You can.
It can happen. It can happen real quick.
Yeah.
For example, ranking tight ends. If you were to start your draft with, like, say, I don't know, a good receiver in round 1, and then Trey McBride and Brock Bowers in 2, 3, that would not be ideal.
I would say not taking both of them right out of the gate.
No. Taking both of them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, taking both.
Bully to a whole new level.
It
did.
Yes, it did. Yeah. Oh, speaking of, I met Lisa Ann one time.
I know you did.
You were there.
I watched it happen. I watched a little boy meet his hero.
Yeah. Destroyed a computer for her.
I would imagine computers. If if I soaked in the experience like I thought I did of that interaction, I have some context clues to follow.
You saw me get giddy. Speaking of a guy that probably likes a good MILF, Tyler, checking in the chat.
Sure.
Yeah. Lisa Ann, also pretty cool.
Pretty cool lady.
Pretty cool. Took a picture with me.
Likes to get down on a good time.
Sent it to my wife. She was like, "Oh," and I'm like, "Yeah."
Who doesn't like to have a good time?
Yeah. Yeah. Anywho, on to the next. And
Jamie says that one time at band camp I drafted Roshan. Nice. That's good. I like it. I feel it. It was Trey McBride for me, but that was like when he was like round, like, I don't know, 16. Wasn't as cool. Wasn't a cool thing to do. Wasn't as hip.
All right, you want to get into looking at these tight ends and figuring out which ones we feel are values, which ones potential busts, which ones you can definitely build yourself a nice 2 tight end build around, 3 tight end, 4 maybe if you want to go that route. Never 4 QBs, people. Never 4 QBs.
Way back there. Way back there.
All right, Bruni. What do you want to start at the top here and just kind of talk about some of these guys that are going in the first 10 rounds or so here?
Well, yeah, we can kick it off easily with Brock Bowers. I mean, he's going at pick 16, sometimes a little bit higher. I've seen him go at the turn 12, 13, 14. I mean, what's your thought process on buying on Brock Bowers in year 2 with the Raiders? New quarterback, Geno Smith, new coach in Pete Carroll. Obviously a big difference there. And my assumption is that they're going to add another receiver in the draft. I pray. A running back. Think this could be a group in the running for like a J.K. Dobbins post draft. They get like a day 2, day 3 rookie. They get a J.K. Dobbins or another type of veteran free agent. They add another receiver. My thought process is that this is too expensive a cost. What's your take here?
Yeah, man. I mean, typically this is where we have seen Travis Kelce go in years, and has it paid off? Sure. But do you also can get value, on a week-to-week basis elsewhere later in the draft? Most certainly, right? Like we always talk about great and late. We talk about, just finding yourself multiple late tight ends, i.e. Jonnu Smith last year. Look at where he finished. I mean, he was tight end 5, tight end 4, weeks 1 through 17. So, I mean, there's definitely multiple ways to skin a cat, right? But looking at Brock Bowers, for me, it's a little pricey. He's currently going 16.2, little pricey.
He goes higher though. He consistently goes higher than that.
Yeah, and again, that's too rich for my blood. I would much rather just take Trey McBride, 10 to 12 picks later. Hell, I'd rather have George Kittle, definitely later than Brock Bowers. And again, this is nothing against these guys that go high. Like Brock Bowers is absolutely incredible. He showed, his rookie year what he can do, and he's featured within the offense, right? But it's just too much for me. I'm not blaming people for wanting to take it. I just don't think that you necessarily, for the points that you're going to get from him on a week-to-week basis, I think you can supplement that with multiple guys throughout the draft, and keep up with Brock Bowers. Now, obviously, they're not going to probably outscore Brock Bowers. There's a few guys here, McBride, Kittle, Laporta, some of these guys could do better than Brock Bowers. But again, just a little rich for my blood that high in the draft.
Well, I agree with you that you can supplement the production. You can easily do it with, a 3 tight end build. And that's kind of why I wanted to pivot back to a two tight end build. If you're getting Brock Bowers, do you feel safe enough in what you're going to get from him this year where you can draft him with his great ADP and then some late tight end ADP?
I mean, yeah, definitely. If you wanted to go, if you really,
you're okay with that. That's what I'm saying. You're comfortable with Bowers in year 2 to where I don't need the additional backup.
I think if you're drafting Bowers, you need to draft you're correct, right? You can't go draft Bowers and then draft Mark Andrews and then draft Dalton Kincaid. That's too much for me. If I'm drafting Bowers, I'm drafting him he's going to be the tight end 1 or 2. Right. And then I'll draft somebody in the sense of I'm a big Zach Ertz guy. I would love to pair him with Zach Ertz. Maybe, if you think Brenton Strange is going to be the guy and they're not going to take somebody right now, in the draft, get him with a Brenton Strange, get him with somebody who might be able to have some high spike weeks for you that might be able to overtake Bowers, because honestly, if you're taking Bowers, you're assuming he's probably going to be your tight end almost every single week outside of a bye week. So draft, like, you're right. You can mess up taking drafting Brock Bowers as far as like how you build your squad, right? If you're going to build your team, you need to potentially only take one more while drafting Brock Bowers, because that's going to put you behind the 8 ball at either running back or wide receiver, depending on what you do with, your first and or third picks, because you're probably taking Bowers in the second round, maybe late first. So I think it's fine to take Bowers, but you need to build accordingly, correct?
So, yeah, no, I agree with you. And as correct as you are, I'm a little bit down on Bowers, and I still feel like I want a little bit more backup for him. Like, that's the correct play. And based on roster utility, spending that high a pick of ADP for a tight end is not, positive return if you're going to go ahead and, double dip in the back end of your draft, even round 15 or later twice. I think that you're missing out on some roster utility at other positions because you are paying up so high for Bowers at that incredible ADP. I've only done it once. Maybe throughout the show here, I'll pull up that team and we can take a look at it. But, kind of pivoting to Trey McBride, I'm expecting him to have maybe a smoother transition into 2025, just because I feel like the offense mostly wasn't that bad. They just need to build up the offensive line a little bit, add another receiver, and I think they're fine with what they have. I don't think like the Cardinals offense is completely barren. You have Marvin Harrison Jr. in year 2, Trey McBride. He had one less catch than Brock Bowers last year. Big difference in their fantasy production was just touchdowns. I think McBride had as many rushing touchdowns as he had receiving touchdowns. And I think the receiving touchdowns all came like weeks 14 through 16 or something like that.
I mean,
the receiving ones.
The receiving one, didn't he only get it at the end of the year?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it was like 14 through 16 or something like that. He had a rushing touchdown because he just fell on the ball, I think in week 1, 2, or 3. It was really early on. And we were like, woo, finally the Trey McBride ticket cashed. We were like punching that touchdown ticket every week at the books, and it was killing us.
The one you're talking about came week 9, where he recovered that fumble for 2 yards.
Oh God!
And then again,
way more money than I thought.
Yeah, and then again, he scored in week 17, so the last week of best ball, a receiving touchdown. Those were the only touchdowns for Trey McBride.
Didn't he have? I thought he had 2 rushing last year.
No, 1. And that's the one you're referring to where he fell on it. He did have 1 week 18, but again, does not matter for.
Does it? Okay, so he did have a rushing touchdown week 18.
No. He had a receiving. He had 2 receiving, 1 rushing.
Weird.
Okay. That's it.
Chart that I'm looking at says otherwise. All right, no worries. No worries. It was a bad year touchdown wise for Trey McBride. I'm saying his production is going to transfer, like his 2024 production is going to transfer to 2025 more seamlessly than say Bowers, where I think the offense goes through a bit of an identity change, new leadership, new coaching scheme. They're going to continue to add more talent. You have a new quarterback in Geno, which I like for Bowers, but I think that betters the offense overall, where you're not having to give the tight end so many damn targets week in and week out. I think if that offense is getting a little bit better, then Bowers, production is going to regress a little bit more to the mean of maybe like tight end 4 through 6. And that's not anything bad, but paying up for that, at this ADP is. So again, I'm a little more concerned about putting him into 2 tight end builds. I probably still feel better with 3, but I don't like that approach. I don't think that's the smartest play. But again, I'm just a little bit more down on him this year. McBride, that ADP at 27. So you're starting round 3. Maybe you get a little bit of a fall on him because your draft isn't paying up, for tight end. And now, you've got him pretty close to round 4. And I think that's a pretty good spot to start taking, elite tight ends, because you have George Kittle right behind him. And George Kittle, like you like to call him, Steady Eddie, just been that guy, right? I mean, I think there's just as much of an argument for George Kittle to be up top with a step forward. Like he could be the number 2 or number 1 tight end this year if the offense really doesn't move forward in any big ways in the draft or free agency. If they add maybe one more guy in the draft. Demarcus Robinson apparently could be like missing some time from a DUI, like a suspension from the league. I mean, if it's just Ayuk and Kittle and, some of these, background dancers, some Ricky Pearsall, some Jacob Cowings, an incoming draft pick, I think we could talk ourselves into George Kittle being the tight end 1 this year.
I mean, yeah, like I like George Kittle. He was my most exposed tight end last year. For a lot of the reasons that you said. Like, I mean, Purdy is comfortable with Kittle, right? Like that connection's there, which is why I think you also like McBride a lot more than Bowers. Is that connection's already there. Bowers is coming in with a new quarterback now. And Steve pointing out here about Bowers, he said, I think Bowers and McBride can pay off not only more TDs, but Bowers also won't have to deal with a quarter of the season with Devontae, plus gets a Geno bump. But I agree with you. I think like if either one of those guys starts out rocky, it's Bowers over McBride.
No, I would agree with it, and it's not to say that Bowers is going to be terrible this year, but I could easily see him taking like a 1.5, a 2-point knock on his like per game average. He averaged 12 fantasy points per game in year 1. If he were to come down to 10, 11, I don't think really anyone would blink. Like they're like, okay, yeah, Brock Bowers is still really great. He just wasn't the tight end 1. He was, like I said, like tight end 4, 5, or 6 this year. And again, drafting him at the very top of that ADP, it doesn't feel as sexy. I will say this: the Geno pairing, love that stackability, because you get Bowers, you're really free to take Geno wherever you want. If you take Geno like even 15, 20 picks ahead of ADP, it's perfectly fine because of how late he's going, and to just lock up that stack. I mean, and once you get to those late rounds anyways, it's, at least in the big board, it's pretty much open season. Like any one draft can be completely different from the other and go a lot of different directions here pre-draft. Obviously, after the draft, we'll have some settling of ADP, and I think maybe even Kittle rises a little bit here. Going at what, pick 52 seems very cheap for a guy that has averaged 11 fantasy points per game in his career as a tight end. The last 5 years, 13, 10, 11, 11, 12.
Yeah, steady.
Like, and again, at that value, I think you're feeling pretty good because you see those first 2 dominoes fall. Bowers, McBride, maybe I'm trying to think, you just got CMC early. I'm trying to think of a higher ADP for the 49ers. It's CMC Kittle, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So you get CMC. Oh, I get Kittle. Purdy's not very expensive. And again, to your point about like that seamless transition with McBride, Kyler, and Kittle and Purdy, I think you like that stackability for Purdy as well, who's going, at a pretty favorable ADP, kind of like right at that shelf, when everybody's just like, okay, let's get our stacks. Oh, let's steal a stack here. Let's get a stack back here. That was rounds, what, 7, 8, 9 now?
Yes.
8, 9, 10, something like that.
Yeah, somewhere.
Steve saying a little early for QB.
Steve saying that Kittle's his favorite at cost among expensive tight ends, especially if Ayuk is missing as much time as people are speculating. Yeah, so I mean, again, like I like a lot of these guys up here, but again, like you want to look at the values on the ADPs. Bowers just so much more expensive than a lot of these other guys down here, and these guys are going to be respectable tight ends every single week for you. Mike Robb says, would you do a McBride versus Kittle UD points if both play over 16 games? I'm not taking that against you because I also really like McBride. So
the volume for McBride is heavily in his favor for sure.
I believe so.
But the touchdowns probably more so in favor of Kittle.
Before we get off Bowers here, Jamie says, what if the Raiders draft Genty? Does that hurt or help Bowers?
I mean, what if I said Travian Henderson? You know what I mean? Like I don't think there's definitely opportunity for any running back to come in and get more of a role. And I know that's going to happen. I know that they're going to get somebody, whether it's Genty, another rookie, free agent veteran, like I was saying before, like a J.K. Dobbins. There's going to be some type of identity shift in the Raiders offense. And that's why I'm just off Bowers that high. You start coming down a little bit, late round 2. I mean, pretty much like where Trey McBride is. Like, I just don't see any reason to pay that much of an upcharge for tight end 1 when McBride and Bowers finished so close last year. Like, I just don't see it. I think
you mean McBride and Kittle?
No, I meant McBride and Bowers. He was saying.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
He was saying Bowers. I was saying Bowers takes a hit. He should be going closer to McBride. Oh, I'd love if all 3 of them were just going right at Kittle ADP. That'd be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
To kind of wrap up these top 3 guys, I mean, the way I have it ranked is McBride, Bowers, Kittle. And I think there could be a situation that evolves in the draft, in the closing of free agency, trade, whatever, where I am even bumping Kittle ahead of Bowers. Like if they were to make some type of splashy move in a trade for receiver or a running back, drafting Genty, I think I could talk myself into bumping him down the rankings at least. And most of that would be based on the very high ADP. I mean, it would really need to also reflect on his movement in the market, which thank goodness for, BBMDB once that drops, because then I can just tell you exactly what is happening.
I do want to get to there was a comment here. Yeah. So he says, Best Ball on Call says, Hawk seems too low or Laporta too high. 20 pick different. Bernie, I know, right before the show, you and I were just taking a quick glance at this. We both said we believe TJ Hawkinson a bit too high. Tight end 5. Obviously, was hurt a little bit last year. Didn't really get his footing, until late in the season. But I just don't understand it either. Like, why is he tight end 5 right now?
Why? Chat, tell us why TJ Hawkinson is tight end 5. We're here to listen. We don't judge, we listen, but we're not having it.
Like, I just don't.
Who did this? Who did this? What like Hawkinson stan at underdog, like, let's hijacked the rankings.
Let's play the game here, and we'll see who's lower on him. So let's go down to people behind him. Mark Andrews or Hawkinson?
Andrews.
Agreed. Jonnu Smith or Hawkinson? Agreed. Tyler Warren. Okay. I like Warren because he's 20 picks later than Hawkinson. I could see them both roughly finishing around the same potentially. So I don't hate Hawkinson over Warren, or Warren over Hawkinson, I mean, but the 20 pick difference, I'll definitely take Warren. Kelce. Agreed. Njoku. Yeah, I agree too, because of what he can do points per game wise. I think he is just a level above Hawkinson when it comes to points per game. Tucker Kraft.
It's very, very close, but it is Hawkinson.
I agree. See,
it's just the potential upside of the offense, what I know O'Connell can do. And to me, like, the Packers are just clam chowder. Like, they just are just completely unvibrant. What's the opposite of vibrant?
Dull.
Like, is that it? Sure. That's the word. That's what they are. They're dull. And they're just not exciting outside of Josh Jacobs. Like, you know what I mean? Like, very close. But I think there could be an argument for Tucker Kraft over him. I think it's also very similar to like that situation I was saying with Bowers versus like Kittle. I could knock down Bowers. I think there could be a lot of scenarios where I move Hawkinson down more.
Yeah, we'll see. Again, like, I don't mind Hawkinson. I just don't like his ADP right now. I don't think he should be going there. He should be going down.
I have him at tight end 12. So I would say that's a big difference. And I still think that's pretty kind. I think that's me also just getting behind, like, yeah, it's TJ. It's Hawkinson. We love Hawkinson. Hawkinson's amazing. Hawkinson's great.
Yeah, I mean, and I do like Hawkinson. It's just, I don't like his ADP.
He's a great football player, but I think that's what, like, even me at 12, I think is just kind of getting caught up in. I like Ferguson. I've got Ferguson at 13. I've got Ferguson ahead of Tucker Kraft. That's a target-rich environment, the Dallas Cowboys, okay? All right? There's a lot of opportunity to go around there right now. Like, are you really that excited about Jalen Tolbert versus Jake Ferguson?
No, I mean, yeah, you're talking to a Ferg guy. Like, I like Jake Ferguson. So
exactly. I could see myself putting Ferguson ahead of Warren. I could see myself bringing him all the way up to like 11. I'm not sure where he's actually going, but I know he's down there. I could probably talk myself into taking Cole Kmet over him, man. Like,
okay, I don't know about that.
I'm just saying, like, you want to talk about Steady Eddie. All right. Like, dude gets catches. We'll get to Cole. All right. Let's get back up. Let's get back up top. We were asked about Hawkinson. We kind of skipped Sam Laporta.
Yeah, so after the top 3 here, which I do agree with, to button that up. I like McBride over Bowers. I would still take Bowers over Kittle, but it is extremely close to me. I just the ADP makes me want to take Kittle over Brock Bowers.
1,000%.
All right, so next 3 up, we got Laporta. We already talked obviously about Hawkinson, and then Mark Andrews. ranging from 64 to 94 in ADP. So 3 tight ends, difference of 30 ADP.
Mm-hmm.
Laporta, any concern with the shuffling of offensive coordinators and all that jazz?
No, I'm seeing a pretty seamless transition there. They went with in-house. I still haven't picked up who their new coordinator is. I just know it was someone that was in-house, and they just
Mike
promoted
Robb
them.
saying OC is last year's Denver Broncos pass game coordinator.
That scare you about Laporta? No, not at all. I mean, this is someone who still had 17 touchdowns through his first 2 seasons. I think he's appropriately ranked. I mean, I don't think I could talk myself into taking Andrews or Jonnu over him. I think he's comfortably right behind these top 3 guys based on the explosivity of the offense. I don't think the Detroit Lions offense is just going to go away, and it's just not going to be what it looked like last year or the year prior because Ben Johnson isn't there anymore. They're still going to be aggressive. They're still going to pass the ball a lot. I mean, you look at him, JMO and Amon-Ra, they all, kind of play different roles, so they balance each other out. Still a very good situation.
Man, I think this is where I'm going to disagree with you a little bit. So they're 30 picks different, Andrews and Laporta. Mark Andrews finished tight end 5 last year. Sam Laporta tight end 7. Sam Laporta has some issues potentially with the offense coordinator. Maybe not. Who knows? Mark Andrews started the year off so incredibly slow. Through 5 weeks, he had, that's 10.6, 11.6. He had 12 fantasy points through 5 weeks and still finished better than Sam Laporta. I would much rather take Mark Andrews 30 picks later.
Mark Andrews, fantasy points per game, it was his lowest year since his rookie season.
And he still finished better than Laporta.
Well, that's because he also went on a touchdown tear. That's what you're going to have to buy into here is that touchdown tear is going to roll over and he's going to be that same guy.
What has changed for him?
Isaiah Likely continues to get better and isn't going
Isaiah Likely was the darling after week 1 last year. We saw what he did on the fucking opening game. And then what?
He got hurt, and that opened a window for Andrews. When they are both there, it's really an issue for both of their fantasy value. Like for the folks that are taking that late round shot on Likely and the folks that are, somewhat paying up for Mark Andrews. Obviously, you're not paying up immensely for Laporta. I still think that cost is equitable because Laporta, in my firm belief, will still have more volume. Come the end of the year, he's going to have more catches and he's going to have more touchdowns in 2025 than Mark Andrews, who's going to be going into year 8. Laporta's going into year 3 in an offense predominantly that wants to pass the ball. Detroit runs the ball a lot. Obviously, they have success with those 2 power running back, or I shouldn't say power running backs, great running backs in Gibbs and Monty, but they still pass the ball a ton. I want to be a part of that offense, and that's also an offense that I think that you want to stack up based on the roster value. You look around, trying to get all, like Mark Andrews, and I think Lamar is a pretty easy one to get, but if you're building out like, a Mark Andrews and a Zay, actually, I guess that one's not so bad. What would you prefer more? Would you prefer Goff, Amon-Ra, Laporta, or would you prefer Lamar, Zay, and Andrews? Like as a combination, what would you prefer to have?
I mean, I think I would. That's a good one, actually.
Because I would prefer to have like a Goff and Laporta stack over even a Lamar and Andrews. You get the rushing upside with Lamar, obviously. He's the MVP. But, when you're talking about total volume, total points, I still think that Laporta has a comfortable edge over Andrews. I get it. That's a massive gap in ADP, 30 picks. So what is that? That's 2.5 rounds. Yeah, if you're waiting, if you're parking the bus on tight end, yeah, sure. Wait for Andrews, wait for Jonnu. You can be patient. You can build a roster elsewhere. But if you're talking about someone that's still like an elite tight end conversation, I still think that Sam Laporta and making him worthy of his own ADP, not so much in a comparison to like Hawkinson, which is obviously, would you rather have Hawkinson at his ADP or would you have Laporta at his ADP?
No, Laporta.
Exactly. A home run right there. But 30 picks difference, like that's kind of like saying like, oh, well, I'm just going to get McBride instead of Bowers. They're both good picks, but one is obviously outlandishly priced over the other. But again, I think the difference between the two is is pretty fine when you look at the fact that Andrews did start off so poorly. Isaiah Likely did play so well at the beginning of the season, and the window really opened for Andrews to take a step forward with a likely injury, like the player, not,
Sure, but Isaiah Likely, so if you're looking at, and I don't know if he went out in week 7, I honestly don't remember, but he had 1.7 points, but then he played the next week to 4.7. Then it looks like he was out week 9. They must have had a bye. Oh, no. Their bye was week 14. So he must not have played 2 weeks in a row because he had a 0 and then no score and then a 5.5 and then a 0 again. What I'm looking at when you say that he has to worry about Isaiah Likely in the beginning of the year, that was true. Week 1, 17.1 for Isaiah Likely, 1.4 for Mark Andrews. Then Isaiah Likely kind of went away for a little bit, came back week 5, 13.3. Mark Andrews, 5.5. The rest of the season, whenever Isaiah Likely scored 8 or more points, Mark Andrews outscored him that same week.
Yeah. The word around my hood was that Isaiah Likely, all right, playing hurt the rest of the season.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Maybe.
But I think that they can coexist. I'll take that 30 pick difference and take Mark Andrews. I like Sam Laporta. You're right. Again, like if you look at the value, I'd rather have Andrews. And I'd rather, if you ask me, when you threw Amon-Ra into that equation, that's what changed it for me, because I would like that 3 combo. I'll take Lamar and Andrews over Goff and Laporta.
Okay.
Straight up.
Got to pay for that QB. Got to pay for that QB,
definitely.
baby.
But I mean, there's a reason we do. I mean, you already said it. It's the rushing for him, right? But yeah, I like
thing that Mark Andrews has going for him, because I think that there is like some faulty public speculation that he could somehow be moved. He's never going to be moved. Like, he is going in the Ring of Honor for the Ravens. Like, I don't think people realize that he's like their Hall of Fame caliber. You know what I mean? Like, team wise, I gotta imagine he holds like a bunch of records.
Do you know how many weeks Sam Laporta had under 6 points?
Let's say 6.
That is exactly. Oh no, hold on. He had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, 6, and then 2 others that had 5 like point something.
7?
Okay. So he had 6. Mark Andrews started off awful, right? Awful. He had 1.4 and then a 5.1, and then a 0 and then a 0.
A 0.
He had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He had 5 weeks under 5. So he starts off the year having 3 in the first 4, and then only 2 more the rest of the year.
Some of them were zeros, Andrew.
I'm just saying, like, I feel like you just.
So
I feel like you like Laporta a lot more than Andrews, and I think that's clouding your judgment on the 30 pick difference.
I mean, the 30 pick difference is agreed upon. It's in the public space. The public has not moved Andrews up to Sam Laporta, so that's just where he's going to stay. I don't get to decide that. Yes, he gets better value. I see no issue paying up for Laporta, and I think that's the big point to hammer home here, is that that cost is fine. That cost is fine.
Okay. I mean, again, I don't think it's like a gross cost for Laporta.
Because Mark Andrews, great value for Mark Andrews. I can find guys after him that can do just as good, more volume.
Sure, but you can say the same thing as Laporta. Laporta was worse. You can't say that about Andrews and not say that about Laporta.
Down year for the kid. Down year for Laporta. He had 9 fantasy points per game, 11.5 in year 1.
Yeah. It just, again, I don't think the ADP is bad for Laporta. I just prefer the Andrews ADP. And obviously we both hate Hawkinson there.
So if you had to rank them, who would you have ahead of the other? Like, if you had to build your rankings, who would be?
Are we basing this off ADP or just total fantasy points?
Total fantasy. Yeah.
I mean, I agree with you. I think Laporta could score as many points as Mark Andrews or a little more. I don't think he's going to grotesquely outscore Mark Andrews I don't think he outscores Mark Andrews by more than 20 points.
So who's your 4th tight end?
Again, are we basing off ADP or just total points?
Just total points.
It would probably still be Laporta. Okay. But again, when we're drafting, that's not what you're necessarily looking at. You're looking at value. Like, I don't think Laporta is outscoring Mark Andrews by 20 points. And I'd rather have that 30 pick value, knowing that I don't think that he does that.
Steve gets it. Steve gets it. He knows. Steve knows.
I mean, and that's true, right? I just are you saying so, Justin? Do you think that the Lions have way more opportunities to score touchdowns than the Ravens do?
Passing touchdowns, yes.
Maybe, but I don't necessarily agree with that. I mean, so let's go to last year. Lamar Jackson had how many?
I want 2 years on that. Lamar had a ridiculous amount of passing touchdowns last year.
I mean, he's a fucking guy.
Is he doing it again?
No.
Is he doing it again?
No. You're just you're like, I need 2 years now.
Lamar had come on. Lamar had
last year 41 passing touchdowns.
How many did you have the year before that?
Let's go to 23. 23. Lamar Jackson had. Did he? Oh no, never mind. It reverted back to 23. I was like, did he have 41 again? He had 24.
So how many is that
65?
in total? So how many is that in total?
65.
Okay. So the last 2 years, Jared Goff has 67. He still had 37 last year and 30 the year before that.
That's such a you said it like that's such a massive difference.
Suck it.
And okay, so if they had two difference for passing touchdowns, okay. So let's go to tight ends.
Okay.
How many touchdowns does Mark Andrews and Sam Laporta have?
How many does Likely have? How many did Likely steal?
Dude, that's going to go against your case. If Likely has a lot, that's going to go against your case.
What are you talking about if he has a lot?
Because then they're still passing it to the tight ends. I know you're looking at the splits of Mark Andrews to Isaiah Likely.
I'll take it either way.
Oh, Lord Jesus. Mark Andrews last year, 11 touchdowns.
Someone tell me what 17 divided by 67 is. I don't know that in my head. Is it 15%?
34, was that 3? Almost 3? Yeah, 3.
That's 3%. I don't think so.
No, not what. Why the fuck?
17 of 67.
You want the percentage of it?
Yes.
Jesus
Christ Almighty. Do the math, Andrew.
Oh my God, I'm controlling the board here, and you have nothing else.
Almost a quarter. It's not 3, Andrew.
I thought you were talking about like how many touchdowns per is that?
Steve says it's almost a quarter, and that would be the total 25%. Thank you, Jamie. 25% of the passing touchdowns the last 2 years in the Lions offense. Sam Laporta. Pay up. Math teacher in the house. 25, Andrew, not 3. I saw what happened in your head. You meant to say 30, and you would have been close, and I would have been fine with 30 as an answer. But you screwed up. You forgot to carry the decimal, and Steve's not going to forget.
Yeah. I'm talking about, I thought you were looking at like touchdowns per game.
I was looking at the total volume of touchdowns.
Yeah,
so Laporta has 25% of the receiving touchdowns when a passing touchdown is thrown. Does he have any rushing? He doesn't have any rushing touchdowns. He's not Trey McBride.
Oh, Bruni.
Well, you have nothing to say now.
It's gonna be a rough look for you.
I think the board bet has built itself here.
Yep, putting it down. Board bet. Putting it down. I got all the other ones written down. Putting it down there.
He says, "Would you rather have apple pie or pumpkin?" Are we talking about?
Oh, that's apple all day.
Oh shit, pumpkin, bro. You don't even know what the fuck to do with pie. You don't even know what pie to fuck. It's
apple.
I was about to say pineapple. It's pumpkin.
All right. Let's scroll down here. So we got next one's up. Jonnu Smith, Tyler Warren, Travis Kelce. Obviously, Jonnu Smith comes in as tight end 7 now, and he was being drafted as tight end way in the back of the board last year. Again, if you want to look for this year's Jonnu Smith being drafted way at the back and can finish highly, that would be Zach Ertz right now.
Zach
saying.
Ertz.
Just putting that out.
You're gonna hate this next part, by the way. I have Jonnu Smith ahead of Mark Andrews.
Oh, Jesus. I mean, at least you're taking a guy that finished ahead of Mark Andrews last year.
Yeah, he had like 88 catches last year. Felt like he had a billion catches 2024. Jonnu Smith. He also had 50 catches the year prior. People kind of forget that. I think he had more catches than Kyle Pitts in 2023.
Yeah, Kyle Pitts, rough debate for him.
Yeah, I know.
Yikes.
Not the greatest debate.
All right, so I'm
stand on
gonna
that.
ask you questions here. Jonnu Smith, how close to repeating can he go? Again, he finished as tight end 4, averaging 10.3, 164 points. How close to that can he get in your eyes?
I'm gonna say tight end 5 through 8.
Okay. So for a point total, if he scored 164 last year, where how close to that do you think he gets?
I'd take him over 150.
Okay. If you take him over 150, he still would have finished as tight end 4. Okay.
Maybe we could take it down to 140. I'm just kidding.
140.
I like him because
7.
despite what the Dolphins are saying, I'm not buying it. I absolutely think that they're going to move Tyreek Hill. The offense, I think, is going to look a little bit different for the Dolphins this year. Not getting into like any deep conspiracy theories with Tyreek Hill, but I don't think that they're going to get like a guy back that's going to compensate a huge demand in the offense. Maybe they get a player, but I think it's probably draft picks or what they're going to recoup because they gave up a fair amount of picks for Tyreek Hill. So I'm expecting there to be lighter competition for Jonnu and for him to have a very good shot to replicate the 2024 production.
Yeah, I mean, and I mostly agree with that. Like, I don't think he's hitting 164 again. I do think they're going to have other opportunity takers, in this offense. Like, I don't think that what we see last year is what we're going to get this year with Jonnu. But I do agree. Like, I think he probably finishes in like the 130s. Honestly, like I think he drops back a little bit. But still, I mean, if you look at that, that would have finished him somewhere in 7 to 9, right? Like, and I think one thing that people should look at is go look at last year's. If you want to look at tight ends and how they finished, go look at last year. Like, besides the top 3 guys, everywhere from Jonnu down to Zach Ertz, they finished within 33 points of each other. So that's tight end 4 to 9. I think that what we need to remember, and Bruni, I mean, tell me if you agree with this or not, but look at tight ends 4 through 9 this year. That would be Sam Laporta down to Travis Kelce. Do you see, for the purpose of total points, do you think that we could see that again where there's about 30-point difference with that from 4 to 9?
Yeah, I mean, it's a really volatile position. So it's the easiest position for it to happen at other than quarterback. But even at quarterback, there's typically like those 2 or 3 guys that are like the top outliers. I mean, I feel like this group is pretty bunched. And that's why I feel comfortable taking a guy like Jonnu over Mark Andrews because of projected volume.
Yeah, I just the thing I want to point out to everybody is like, look at the ADP difference, right? And I know I take your Sam Laporta love
in
out
most of my drafts, I'm telling folks
64.
you want to sit on the position. You don't want to rush because there's a lot of situations where you can build a pretty strong threesome, right? Like you can build a good strong group, and if it's not 3, why not 4?
Yeah, I think like a not a terrible draft strategy this year is going in and just taking 2 to 3 of the guys going from maybe 6 to 16. I think there's a lot of guys in here that you can pair with each other that make good combos. Some of these guys up here, though, the Bowers, McBride, like a lot of these guys I like doing kind of like great and late, not necessarily taking a bunch of, really good tight ends. I think for the tight end, though, like the landscape, there's so many different ways that you can draft these tight ends because of how they finish and what they provide on week to week basis. Like, it's not like wide receivers where there's a pretty decent discrepancy. Tight ends, like, they generally finish not too far away. I mean, there's a certain point, like if you look at last year, after tight end 14, everyone scored less than 100. From 14 up, everyone scored more than 100 fantasy points last year, week 1 through 17.
It's tough in them tight end streets.
Yeah, so I mean, I know we're talking about this as a fun conversation, but like honestly, like a lot of these guys can get you week to week, decent points, and comboing them together provides you a nice core tight end group for your roster. Like, I don't think that there's one set way. I know we talk about great and late and all that, but a lot of these guys just end up finishing, bunched up together within, 15, 20, 30 points of each other.
No, and I mean that's a very good point. For the sake of building out your roster, that's exactly what I would recommend is 3 somewhere in like the 8 to 12 range or 2 in that range, and then maybe sitting on one for like your last pick, trying to find this year's Jonnu, this year's Trey McBride, because obviously that's a huge leverage point.
Yes, definitely.
Landing the late round tight end. So I do have Jonnu at 5 over Mark Andrews. Again, pretty okay with the potential volume. Where are you at with Tyler Warren? Because I have him knocked down a bit.
I mean, he's starting to. I mean, again, like he's definitely crept up the board.
Mhm.
I until we know a landing spot, I don't like. Well, I've drafted some Tyler Warren, but again, he was going a little later. Now that he's
Mhm.
like definitely creeping up the board, like I don't even know where he's going yet. I'm so uncomfortable drafting him sometimes because
Yeah.
of not knowing. I like to know where they're going before I really kind of go balls deep, on a player. But
Mm.
Tyler Warren, very good. I mean, again, watched him a ton at Penn State. Very good tight end, more of a Swiss Army knife tight end than we've seen in recent years. He can do it all, but he has to still land in a good landing spot, somewhere that they're going to utilize him correctly. And until that happens, like I don't like the ADP for him.
No,
Still,
I agree. I have him at tight end 11, right ahead of Hawkinson. So a couple of big fallers for me. I think he's tight end 8 right now. Tight end 11, I think, would push him, into like the 120s or so. So that's roughly about maybe say 20 or so picks, behind where he's going right now. Again, same case here. Don't have a landing spot yet. It could be good. It could be great. There could be some risk reward to it. I think with how close this group is, a really good landing spot could push him up a few spots. But I don't believe that'll be my practice, here in 2025. I love the idea of the rookie tight end year one production surging onward. After Laporta, after Bowers, maybe this year it's Tyler Warren. I'm not going to put my money where my mouth is there. I'm not going to be putting all my chips in the middle of the table for, high exposure to rookie tight ends. Sprinkle them in by all means, but get them at a discount, get them at a fall. A lot of other guys I like a lot more at that range or just like waiting on.
yeah. And I know we're not talking about QBs, but Steven WC23 does bring up a good point. Like a lot of these guys go where these quarterbacks are going here.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I don't know if that pushes these tight ends down, up. Is it harder to get some of these guys
I think a lot of it is
paired?
your stacking ability. Obviously, with best ball, Caleb Williams and Goff aren't going to be big fallers. I don't really think Purdy will be either with the presence of Kittle with a higher ADP. I think the guys right after there, like right after Kelce, those specific quarterbacks, I think you get a little bit more falls on. And so you don't get as many of the falls at the tight ends.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. You just got to, plan accordingly if you are trying to stack that tight end. If you have a
Look ahead.
quarterback,
Look
yeah, if you have a quarterback
forward.
that's going in that range, definitely be prepared to try to grab that. Um, and Kelce, I
Mhm.
mean, the man on the thumbnail, Kelce. Where are we putting Kelce in here? I still right now, and I know I've drafted more Warren than I have Kelce, but where I kind of like the Kelce here right now because I don't know where
It's fine.
Warren goes.
It's fine. I have him right at 9. So where he is ranked right now is exactly where he falls in my rankings. Like it's very hard for me to make arguments for the guys that I have behind him because he still plays in a very good offense. He still plays with Patrick Mahomes. It was the worst year, I think, of his career, fantasy points per game wise. But I think really the biggest concern is that, last year he finished with 11 fantasy points. The problem with that is like per game, excuse me. The problem is that the year prior he scored 15 fantasy points per game, and now last year he went down to 9. So you have like a 6-point regression across 2 years, which is not good because I don't see any signals for us to have a significant turnaround other than the praying hope that this guy can get like 55 catches and 12 touchdowns. And in the Chiefs offense, I can convince myself that reality is real. I can do it. I don't feel great about it. That's why he gets tight end 9. Like it's hard for me to keep him outside of the top 10 because I know that the spike weeks can be there. I know that multi-touchdown games can be there. I have to feel in my gut of all gut feelings that the Chiefs are going to come out and spite other teams after last year, like after how badly they played. I really hope they get back to the high flying, ring around the rosy Chiefs offense. That's what I want back. Like, make the Chiefs offense great again, please. I can buy that bounce back. I can buy that at tight end 9 years prior, where you're paying up for top 3, top 2, the top tight end. I feel like this is a respectable of enough fall based off of the total fall of production.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. Yeah, he's fine there. I mean, again, like you're right, it's hard to keep him out of the top 10. I mean, he's Travis Kelce for a reason.
I was trying real hard to do it. I couldn't do it.
Steve says Kelce's issue was TD based, but do we have the same worries again? Do we feel a healthier Chiefs receiving corpse limits Kelce? I think it can limit him if they get back to playing ball like they used to, where they were chucking it downfield and going balls to the wall and with wide receivers, Tyreek Hill going downfield. Like, if they can get back to playing like speed ball like that, I think that kind of hurts Kelce. And I know he did well in those years, but he's getting older now, right? I think where he still holds value is in the red zone, and they just didn't connect with him last year in the red zone. I think that if he can clear that up a little bit and get some more red zone targets, or actual red zone catches and touchdowns, he can pay off the tight end 9 ADP and provide some nice spike weeks. He says there are legit questions, but I don't hate Kelce, particularly if he just like this is my final year. So
also very easy to build like some Kelce bully tight end like builds. You know what I mean? Like, you could get Kelce and Trey McBride, like it's nothing. Like, it's nothing. You could get Kittle and Kelce, like it's nothing. And I think that's what I'm trying to do, really. When I'm getting Kelce on my team, I want to be in kind of like a bully situation, but there to be a nice like kind of spread in the ADP. You know what I mean? Like, you look at that difference, Kelce pick 106 to Trey McBride pick 24, 27. Like, it's a pretty big difference. And you can get creative. I mean, you could even cash in on some double stacks with Mahomes and Kyler with the discount that Mahomes is going at. So I think that's how I kind of like Kelce this year, at least in my builds, is kind of having some safety, because, the outlook, obviously, based off of last year, is pretty bleak. Like, it doesn't seem great, but there's definitely a reality based on, recent history, some recent history that says he can bounce back and have a good season. So, and again, where he's going, it seems appropriate. Like, it seems like a okay cost.
Looks like Meg says she can keep him out of the top 20. Kelce looks like he's running in mud.
Maybe.
Also disbanded in here with the period, as always. So for the sake of time, I kind of want to go through some of these tight ends and then get to some of the late guys that we really like. But I'm going to go through some of these tight ends with you here. Mm-hmm. We're going to rank them, in the draft here, because a lot of these guys are going within 2 rounds of each other. Rank how we would like to draft them, and also if you feel that they're a value at their ADP. So I'm gonna ask you first, the player. You tell me if you like their value based on ADP. David Njoku, ADP 112.
Yes, he is my tight end 7. So I have him behind Andrews and ahead of Kelce. Kelce was 9. I'll hold off to tell you who 8 is because he's coming up.
Okay. I also like David Njoku at his ADP. Tucker Kraft, ADP 120.
It's okay. It's kind of close to Njoku, but I guess Njoku is the better value and Tucker's more appropriately priced. So I'll say it's an okay cost at price. It's like, you have the green light. I don't think you need to pay up for him by any means.
Any reason to be concerned that Luke Musgrave comes back? No. Okay.
No, I mean, if you look, I mean, Kraft had some production the year prior. We probably should have saw this coming. It's just our fault. We're just stupid. We made a mistake. We're sorry. Yeah, I apologize for Luke Musgrave. Do it.
I won't yet.
Why?
Yet. I'm not doing it yet. Because he was drafted to be the guy over Tucker Kraft. I'm not saying that he's going to be, but that was the original plan. And I know it didn't pan out yet, but you never know, man. You just never know.
Quit telling yourself.
Not saying sorry yet.
Quit telling yourself these things. Incredible.
Evan Ingram, newly Denver Bronco, ADP 127.
Massive value in my opinion. He is my tight end 8, so I have him ahead of Travis Kelce.
Okay.
So now we're at 9.
Why massive value, by the way?
Just based on his ADP. He's at 127. Where's tight end 8 going? Scroll up.
Tight end 8 is going 103.
So that is what I consider massive value 2 rounds.
2 rounds.
Exactly. 24 picks.
Okay. You think he performs very well in Denver then, I imagine?
I'm betting so, yes. I am betting so.
Okay.
Sean Payton.
I would have rather have him
tight
in
ends.
Jacksonville.
You would prefer if he stayed in Jacksonville?
Yes.
Why? Then your boy Brian Thomas wouldn't be a round 1 pick.
That would be even better for me. I don't want Brian Thomas to be a round 1 pick. I want to be around 2 or later.
But it makes you look so much better from last year to make up for that Luke Musgrave talk you won't apologize for.
Yeah, I mean,
counterbalance, Andrew.
Sure, if that's how you want to look at it. Unknown team, Colston Loveland, ADP 127.
He's not in my top 15.
Yeah, again, like I don't love that I don't know where he's going yet. I know Mega is in on taking some of these guys with the hope that there are some good landing spots in their future. I just don't want to get there yet. Talk to me in BBM. Dalton Kincaid, 132.
Not in my top 15.
You I knew you were gonna hate him. You suck it.
It's not about hating.
Don't you talk about Dalton Kincaid that way.
You please say all the nice things about Dalton Kincaid so I can then say why they're wrong.
I like Dalton Kincaid. He has Josh Allen.
I know that you like him.
He has Josh Allen.
You're into him.
Stop it. You know what? Maybe this is the year for me that I like guys who drop balls at the end of seasons when it's crucial moments. Mark Andrews, Dalton Kincaid. It's the year for those guys. All right. So you just suck it.
Mark Andrews has had many good years. Kincaid hasn't had one yet.
He's gonna get there, but believe. All right. Isaiah Likely, ADP 135.
No, I mean I'm pulling Dallas Goedert up ahead of all of those guys. Like Likely, Dalton Kincaid. Who is above Kincaid?
Loveland.
Yeah, Loveland. Yeah, I'm bringing Dallas Goedert ahead of all those guys. So let's see. I have Goedert at 10? Yeah, I have him at number 10. That seems like a misprice for me. Like they're also talking about him being on the move. Like Dallas Goedert could be a draft day trade option.
He could be a Kansas City Chief.
Sure. I'd be way more into that tight end 10. I mean, he's kind of been steady Eddie, 8.3, 7.6, 9.5, 9.1 fantasy points per game through the last 4 seasons. I mean, and that's with the offense being completely run dominant last year, and he still had a better year than he did in 2023 on a per game basis. So I think there's a lot to like about Goddard still. I think the skill set and the reliability of a role in an offense is just more solid for him versus likely Kincaid and at least Loveland for right now. But I think even post-draft, like I'm still confident I'm going to wind up taking more Goddard at his ADP versus Loveland. So,
yes. And Ferguson, ADP 147. Value.
Yes, definitely. He is my tight end 13. I think there's a lot of scenarios that could play out where I take him higher than that in my rankings. But I think right now, coming back off the injury, still played 14 games last year, but he averaged, 5.4 versus the 8.4 per game points per game from the year prior. So when Dak's healthy, him and Ferguson, they've got that link. They've got a connection. Dak has always just loved to throw to his tight ends. That's been relevant since Ferguson, Dalton Schultz, even Witten, like he's always had an eye for the tight ends. So I think that's a pretty comfortable role and position to target with the Cowboys. And unless you go somewhere else, I think that's definitely someone you want to get on your rosters. Also, very friendly stackability with Dak Prescott going at a discounted ADP. I see Dak's price going up the closer we get to week 1.
All right, so we're going to pause there. I want to go back a little bit here. Let's go to where some of these guys are going roughly in the same range. We're going to rank them how we like them in the draft. Like, so like Kelce, Njoku, Kraft, Ingram. Like for me, I would rather draft Njoku first out of any of those guys, then Kelce, Ingram, Kraft.
I would go Njoku, Ingram, Kelce, Kraft.
Okay, so you're okay. Yep. So you're just difference with the Ingram second for you, and he's third for me. Yep. Let's go. Let's add Ingram in here. So let's go Ingram, Loveland, Kincaid, Likely. You go.
Ingram, skip. Don't draft. Oh, Dallas Goedert, I draft him.
Okay. I mean, for me, it's Ingram, Kincaid, Loveland, Likely.
I can get into Loveland once he gets a landing spot, and I'll pay the adjusted cost. I'm sure I could be missing out on some value, but again, like I just don't want to get all gush over rookie tight ends year after year after year. betting on a trend to just consistently continue to hit.
I mean, unless it's the motherfucking Mackey Award winner.
Unless it's the Mackey Award winner, and that's why Tyler Warren is number 11 in my rankings. We're putting some respect on the award, okay? Just calm down. And that's without a landing spot.
Jamie says leveling the Colts. Yeah, Steve made this point.
Good? Is that good? Do the Colts throw the ball a lot?
Well, that's so Steve said earlier, Bauer showed though that the tight end landing spot isn't as important, especially if Danny Dimes will take over the Colts. If Danny Dimes takes over the Colts, okay, probably not an awful landing spot. Justin, though, think back to D-Gen dads. How many times did we cash Anthony Richardson under completions?
I don't want to talk about that. That's exactly where I was going with that. That's not a good landing spot to me.
If it's Richardson, it's not. I mean, like, homeboy can't complete.
Can they also draft passes. Jackson Dart as well? Like,
it's tough. Yeah. So
I do think they also get him. I might be into it.
It's tough. All right, so let's go down here. Some of these guys that we do like. Let's go Goddard. Oh, so let's see. 39. All right, let's do these three: Goddard, Ferguson, Pitts.
It would go Goddard, Ferguson, Pitts, but Pitts is also knocked down a bit for me, so it's knocked down.
So Pitts for you under Otten, Komet, Freiermuth.
Yeah,
Brent Strange
probably. That's so close. I really like Bretton Strange a lot. You know that. That's kind of not fair. And Muth is a great value because we all know that Aaron Rodgers is going to Pittsburgh. He just needs to stop being a little twat about it and just go sign a contract. The dude is literally playing catch with DK Metcalf at UCLA. Stop it. This is not an HBO show, Aaron Rodgers. All that Iwasaka and friggin' Netflix.
I'm sorry, what?
Iwasaka? I don't know what it is.
Ayahuasca.
Ayahuasca? Is that how you say it?
You said Iwasaki. Yeah, it's ayahuasca.
Wasaka. What's happening, hot stuff? I don't know what's gotten to that dude, but he needs to stop it. I think that Muth is a value until they get that QB. But yes, I would have Komet, Otten, Muth all ahead of Pitts. I think I would park him at Strange, but I just love to get some Strange. So I think I knock him down behind him too.
All right, so let's change roles here real quick. I know we want to finish the show here soon, but I wanna look at last year. Okay, last year from 15 down, everyone scored under 100 points. Okay, so let's go to 15 down to
Cole Kmet scored 96. If this is what you're trying to say.
No. I just want to go down through. So let's go down through. We'll scroll down, okay? Pick your top 4 favorite tight ends from 15 down to draft, okay? Just strictly off of guys that you think can provide you, value week to week, right? Mm-hmm. So that's going to be likely Goddard, Ferguson, Pitts, Otten, Komet, Freiermuth, Strange, Hunter Henry, Zach Ertz, Mike Gesicki, Dalton Schultz, Jatavian Sanders.
I like a lot of these.
Johnson.
I like a lot of these.
I was trying to go to so the draft ends here?
Yeah, Taysom Hill, Noah Fant. I've taken some Noah Fant in the last round.
So let's take it down to
Taylor goes
down here. So
there's plenty of decent options back here.
Who's your top 4 favorites to pick though?
Overall, it's probably Gesicki.
I mean,
it's Gesicki, Ferguson.
You like Goddard.
I know it's Gesicki, Ferguson. I'm just trying to think of my exposures off the top of my head. I know those 2 are the top 2, and then probably Muth, and then I don't know. I would just have to look for the next one, but I guess Dallas Goedert. I mean, just off like the top of my head for the rankings, but I was trying to go off of my exposures.
Yeah, I mean, for me, if we're going 15 down, I like Goddard, Ferguson. Scroll down, Zach Ertz.
Oh, I mean, I like Zach Ertz too. I just don't have a ton of them.
And then it's Gesicki for me. I know Fanspeak Network, definitely big fans of Jatavian Sanders. Want to see it again, but love the value on Sanders. I mean, tight end 27, really like that as well. So, those are my 4 favorite guys. But if you look down here, right, like at these guys down here, you can put together a nice tight end. If you want to just wait on tight end, start taking them down here in the 140s, right? You can create yourself a nice 3 tight end build with, let's say you go Ferguson, Muth, and Ertz, right? Like I would absolutely love that build of
and
3
you're
tight ends.
also can stack them pretty easily as long as you have
fairly. Yeah.
But so my top 5 are Ferguson, Njoku, Komet, Gesicki, Freiermuth. Those are my top 5. And then Chigakonkwo is right after Muth. So starting to get some Chig and Cam Ward stacks.
Yep. You can clearly see 88.9% Zach Ertz for me. All in, baby. Make it make sense to me. Make it make sense. Also, make how you say it. Jamie says breaking news: Aaron Rodgers signing with mental institution. If you guys haven't watched his Netflix thing, it is pretty cool. I do like Aaron Rodgers.
It's the same mental institution that Happy Gilmore took his grandmother to. Just kidding. That was an old folks home.
Jamie says, do you prefer Noel, Higgins, or Io Manor? Io Manor? How do you say it again? Io Manor.
Io Manor again.
So rough for me.
Say
for
it again.
And Dynasty.
For best ball and Dynasty, wow. I mean, Dynasty, it's pretty wide open to their landing spot. I would take probably Higgins, Io Manor, Noel in that order. I would say for both formats without knowing their landing spots, because without knowing their landing spots, all you're playing is best ball, really.
True. Chato?
Chaito.
I'm assuming ranking guys that he likes there. Strange, Henry, Jatavian Sanders, Theo Johnson. Hey, I got a little bit of Theo Johnson down here, that 22%.
Yeah, I mean, it could happen, I guess. I could see them drafting a mid-round tight end.
Just something about Penn State tight ends.
Sure.
They can do it. Meg says for her, it's Gesicki, Ertz, Henry, and Freiermuth.
Yeah, I mean, Henry's always interesting. I think you feel better about Henry actually with the addition of Stephon Diggs.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't think it hurts him a ton.
No, I think it makes the situation better because the offense is better.
Yeah.
DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett. Yeah, Jaden Higgins. That's nice. That's nice. We all know DK gave birth, though. There's no way Lockett could handle that kid.
Oh, Lord Jesus. All right. Bruni, anything else you want to talk about on tight ends here, or anybody that we skipped over, missed, that you had any points to make about?
What do you consider total fantasy points in a season to be like a good outcome? Like total amount of fantasy points? Is it like 120, 130, 140?
I would say probably 110 and more. Okay. Hold on. You know what? Before I say that, I think it's based off of value. First off, we all know that, like, it's value is king in best ball. So it's based off value. If you're well overperforming your ADP, that's a tremendous season. But if I'm just going off of total points, not just ignoring where they're going, I would say like 110 and more.
All right. So Cole Kmet last year, he had 96, down year. All right.
Okay.
The year prior, 144.
What's the difference there? What's the common denominator difference?
The quarterback?
One quarterback, and two, he had more people around him last year.
And now he gets less people around him this year. No Keenan Allen. Calm down.
Yeah, so far.
I wasn't even done. You're just jumping right in. Wasn't even done.
So far.
The year prior to that, 122. Why can't he balance out to Keenan Allen less offense, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, let's say we draft Genty, okay? We got Ben Johnson in here. That I'm saying like another
Genty.
Why wouldn't we?
I don't think you're drafting Genty.
Because the Raiders take him, or because we pass on him?
Because he ain't gonna be there.
I was gonna say we're not gonna pass on him, so you gotta say someone else is gonna take him.
Well, yeah.
This is Ben Johnson, dude. Stop it. Cole Kmet is a receiving tight end. You got to stop it. You got to start paying some more respect. You better get some Caleb and Kmet stacks, or I'm gonna be real upset. You better do it. You better do it. I am the Kentucky.
I am the Kai. I am the key.
Kentucky. Any Smart and Jet stacks or Conklin with Herbert? I kind of like Tyler Warren to the Jets. I mean, they're saying he's a top 10 pick. Could happen. Probably not. I do love the Herbert Conklin stack. Conklin been my guy the past couple of years, late round. He's been right next to Jonnu. He's been right next to Trey McBride. Back-to-back seasons of my exposures. Do I do it again? I might. I just might.
Okay.
Neat. Free. I love free players. Like Chuba Hubbard last year. Free. Love free players. Jonnu Smith last year. Free. Free.
Anybody else? Broom Dog.
Keep scrolling. There's got to be someone funny. Well, where's Calcaterra? All this news about Dallas Goedert getting traded. Where's the Calcaterra love?
Let's see.
Look up Calcaterra. He's right behind Nick Westbrook.
There he is. 239. Tight end 50.
Oh, that's fun. That's fun.
Yeah. I think what we have taken away though is that tight ends good value mid to late.
Yes. But also some pretty fun options up top.
Whoa. Jamie says, after tonight's show, I won't be around anymore. I'm moving to South Africa for 2 years. So
I'm guessing this is like a American Pie thing.
I was gonna say, if that's for real, so like
that's not happening.
They don't have the interwebs.
That's not happening. I've no. Jamie's not going to South Africa for 2 years. That's not happening, pal.
Oh, I said April Fools. Too bad it's March 31st yet. You son of a bitch.
Well, he beat me to it.
Meg says 2 late round tight ends hit my Bulldog lineup in Week 17 finals. Conklin and Ertz, so they are both heroes for me.
Conklin. So I mean, just 2 years ago we had the Aaron Rodgers injury, and then last year we just had all the fuckery of the Jets. It was just stupid. They didn't run the ball. Terrible play calling. Oh my god.
All I read from that was draft Zach Ertz.
Draft Zach Ertz. That's something.
ESA. I should
we can all agree on drafting Zach Ertz at his ADP.
My shirt's going to say draft Zach Ertz, and on the back end says tight end 24. Make it make sense.
That sounds like a great shirt, and sounds like you're going to sell a lot of them, Andrew.
That's right.
Out of the
Daniel's the
Ertz.
Car. Let's go, baby.
I think that would bring you joy, just selling T-shirts on the side of the road. New day job.
Side of the road. This is 2025. We got the interwebs, baby. Print on demand.
I don't know. That seems like a lot of work for you. I think picket stand, side of the road, like busy street corner, the hustle and bustle.
Right,
we got T-shirts here. We got T-shirts here.
Hot dog vending machine guy.
I wasn't thinking hot dog, but it sounds like you were. I like where your head's at. All right, very good. Oh, whoa. Sorry, my bad. Didn't mean to touch the buttons. Andrew likes to touch the buttons around here. All right, let's say goodbye, pie fucker.
Oh.
Anything to share before we go?
I mean, thanks for everyone helping us get to 500 subs, by the way. Appreciate y'all. We will see you guys Friday. Live stream, 500 sub, $500-ish giveaway with prizes. Cocktail playbook. Got it here. Can't wait to send this last one out to somebody. Mike Raub already has one. Ask him how it is. He likes it, I'm sure. He didn't say it, but I know it.
Mike Raub can't read.
He can see pictures. He can look.
It's awesome. Yeah, Friday's going to be a lot of fun, guys. We have shows rolling every day. So we've got Tyler and Spread tomorrow. We'll be back on Wednesday. Meg and Steve on Thursday. And then we'll have the family draft night on Friday, giving away all that money, all those prizes, doing some drafts, having some fun, having some laughs. Probably a little bit of alcohol will be had on all screens. Hopefully some of yours at home as well. So take care, be well, be good. If you can't be good at it. We'll see you guys later.